Welcome to Her Handmade Hustle Unplugged, a podcast for all women with a creative business who want to learn more about how to make money doing something they love. I'm Joanne, a female entrepreneur myself, 15 years experience running my own handmade stationery business, Vintage Twee. I'm an established seller on two of the biggest handmade marketplaces, so I've got a whole load of advice to share about how to start and run your own successful creative business. I'm also a wife and a mother, so I get the struggles of trying to do it all while you're raising a family. It's hard. Alongside running Vintage Twee, I'm also a mentor for other women like me who desperately want to work for themselves but just need that bit of support to get going and get their business dream off the ground. I'm a friendly northerner, I'm open and honest with a huge heart and a real fighting spirit, and I'm living proof that you can achieve anything that you set your mind to, even in the face of adversity. This podcast celebrates the selflessness, strength, and resilience of women in business. So if you're ready to ditch the 9 to 5 and learn how to start your own successful creative business, you're in the right place. Hello and welcome to the Her Handmade Hustle Unplugged podcast. I hope you're all doing good and you had a exciting bonfire night, which we've just celebrated here. I have to say, we're pretty lucky that I am alive to record this podcast episode, as I have since discovered that my husband Dave and fireworks do not mix. Yeah, as always, you can count on something happening in the Pierce household, yeah. So we had a lovely little display of fireworks in our garden since Mummy forgot to book the local bonfire, which I'd promised my daughter Eden. Whoops. And when I came to actually buy the tickets, it sold out. So that went down like a sack of shit, as you can imagine. So I was like, right, okay, we need to find some fireworks. We're going to have our own display in the garden. Forget about those expensive display ones. We're going to have a nice, cozy little gathering in our garden, just me, my husband Dave, Eden, and my dad. Okay, so we're on a mission to find fireworks. Could I find any anywhere? No. In the end, I went to this dodgy corner shop, right? Bought this box of family fireworks, much to Eden's delight. We got home and we got started. Invited our next door neighbour over who lives on her own. Was like, yeah, come over and enjoy our little firework display. So she was excited. She comes over with a rum in hand. You know, brings me a rum as well, which was nice and warming. So then Dave starts setting the fireworks off, right? All well and good until he gets to the rockets. So the first rocket, obviously no experience whatsoever in doing fireworks. Usually my dad takes charge of this. But Dad took a step back and he was like, right, Dave, you can do this. You got this. He said, okay. So he lights the first rocket up, which he'd put directly into the grass. So rockets you're supposed to put in a bottle. I didn't see. It was dark. I just left him to it. Okay, so the rocket, first one, was unable to even go anywhere. He jammed it that far into the grass, so it just starts sparking and setting the grass on fire as it was going off. So you can imagine the panic from Eden for a start, and then also the next door neighbour who was sat on the other side of me on our little bench in the garden. So I laughed it off. I was like, it's fine. It's just one off, Eden. Don't worry, that was just Daddy's fault. Okay. Next rocket goes in the bottle. Brilliant. Sets it off, shoots up into the sky. All well and good until the bloody thing turns around like a boomerang and comes straight back down right for Dave, who did his army dive onto the floor, onto our patio. In the meantime, I've got Eden on one side of me, jumping on me, absolutely bloody terrified. I've got Greta on the other side, clinging on to me for dear life and spilt all the rum down my onesie. And then there's this rocket just hurtling towards us. So when the smoke finally lifted, what did we see? Dave on the floor of the patio, like army style, like he'd just bloody dived into the trenches, saving himself. Never mind trying to protect his wife and his kid. No. So we've learnt our lesson about bonfire night, and we think that perhaps it's probably a better idea if Mummy gets a bit more organised next year and books the local bloody bonfire instead of relying on Daddy to run the fireworks show. Anyway, I thought you might enjoy that little story before we get started today. I hope everything is well in your world, although I'm conscious of the fact that it might not be, and you might be feeling a little bit overwhelmed right now, whether that's by life in general, or buy your small business. And I wanted to let you know today that I hear you and I get it. Yeah, because running a business, it's scary, isn't it? And I always say it's not for the faint of heart. If you've listened to my podcast before, you'll know that it's something that I always say. It's not that dreamy, carefree lifestyle that Instagram portrays, is it? We're not all sat here behind our social media posts drinking posh coffee and got our feet up, while the orders just flood in. No, no way. It's quite the opposite, right? Running a small business, it's messy, it's unpredictable, and at times it makes you question if it's actually worth it. And there's one theme that I've noticed recently in the small business owners that I've been around or have spoken to, and that's that of disappointment. People are feeling really disappointed that their sales are slow, that it's so much harder than they thought it was going to be, that they thought they'd be so much more further along than they are right now. And I get it, I really do, because I've been there too. God, sometimes I'm still there. But today I want to talk about that feeling of disappointment and why it's not a sign that you're failing. I think the word disappointment, it's such a loaded word, isn't it? It's so much more destructive than other words. It just carries these connotations of shame and of letting people down or letting yourself down. Nothing, I don't think, hits harder than when a customer says that they are disappointed in the item that they've received from you, for example, or the service that they've received. It's a real gut punch, isn't it? In some ways, I just prefer it if they told me that they thought it was crap and, they're never buying anything from me ever again. At least you could kind of hate them a little bit for being a dick about it. But when someone uses the word disappointed, it just seems so much more hurtful and personal, don't you think? Like when you were a kid and you did something naughty. Like, I remember trying a cigarette once, yeah. And I had a packet of Marlboro Lights, right? And I'd stuffed them in this little vanity case that I had with a lock on it. Except that you could totally still get in the case because the lid just bent back. It was that weak. So it wasn't exactly a sealed vault, But when my mum found out, I remember her saying to me that she was disappointed in me. And that just felt so much worse than being told off or yelled at and sent to my room. So much worse. Like, I disappointed my mum. How shameful that felt. And you might be feeling this disappointment right now when it comes to your business. Disappointed in others for not buying your work. Disappointed in the economy for squeezing people so tight right now with all the increased costs of living that they don't have the extra money to spend on those nice little things that they want, and that you're making. Maybe you're disappointed in yourself because you're thinking if you were doing it right, then you'll be making steady sales at the very least. So it must be you, and you mustn't be cut out for running a business, and it's never going to work out. Well, if you're listening to this and feel any of those things, or maybe you thought this isn't worth it, or I'm just not good enough, then this episode is for you. Okay, I guess it's a little tough love, but you know me, served with a huge dollop of empathy and understanding because I'm not a total bitch. And I do know how you might be feeling right now because I've been there. So let's talk about validation, right? We all love to receive a bit of validation and acknowledgement for the work or the things that we do, don't we? It's just human nature. It brings us confidence. It helps us realize that what we're doing is good and right and that we're on the right track with whatever action it is that we've taken. This validation you receive when someone buys your product or tells you how talented you are or who refers you to their friend because they know that you can make exactly what they need, well, feels great. It's like a reward for all the hard work that we've put in, and it's amazing to hear. It's like a good ego boost, isn't it? But what if we aren't getting that validation, that instant reward? The sales aren't happening. No one is referring you to their friends. You aren't getting a 5-star review every week. It feels pretty crap, doesn't it? It feels like our work doesn't matter, like we don't matter. No one is seeing us. No one is finding us. So what's the point? There's no immediate impact, and then we start to question why we're doing it and if we should be doing it in the first place. Well, let me tell you a little story which I think illustrates perfectly exactly why we need to keep doing it, right? So the other day, my daughter Eden was a little bit upset because she's seen a homeless man outside the supermarket, and she's becoming really aware of these things now. She's a little girl with a lot of empathy and she feels very deeply for people. So she asked me, she said, "Mummy, can we go and get that man some food when we go in the shop?" Which I just thought was really sweet and, of course, said yes, that's a really kind thing to do, Eden. So she chose him some cookies, and after our shopping, we went and headed outside to give them to him. So, we handed them over, he thanked us, and then we headed back to the car. And that was that. And then about 5 minutes later, I could just see the cogs were turning in her little head. And she said to me, "Mummy, will those cookies even help that man? Because he still doesn't have a home, does he?" And I thought to myself, well, yeah, you make a pretty good point there, Eden. Those cookies weren't going to magically turn into a warm and cosy home for that man. No. They were probably gone already. He probably had them for his tea. It wasn't a life-changing gesture. But in that moment, it mattered. It did mean something to him. It might have been the only thing that he'd eaten that day. It might have been the chocolate fix that he needed, a bit of sugar just to boost his energy and make the afternoon a little bit more bearable. Or he might have ate the chocolate cookies and just chucked them in the bin as soon as we walked off. But it did matter, just not in the way that Eden could see it. And it made me think about when you're running a business, you give something meaningful, usually your soul, yeah, and you pour your heart into it, and then nothing. There's no immediate reward. There's no visible change. You don't become an instant success overnight. In fact, it just goes quiet. But you have to remember that your work matters, even if the sales don't show it yet. You can't and you won't always see the impact straight away. You don't know who you've inspired or who screenshotted your product and who is quietly saving up to buy it from you next month, or even whose day you've brightened just by showing up. Don't mistake a slow start for a wasted effort, because sometimes the smallest gestures, like the cookies, or the smallest steps, like showing people your new product on social media or telling a friend or school mum about what you do for a living, those are the things that plant the seeds for what's coming next. So me and my sister Emma got together during the October half-term school holidays, and somehow we managed to escape the kids for a few hours, right? And we buggered off to a spa, like a 5-star spa. It was bliss. And we were talking whilst lying on our backs, floating in the salt pool like you do. And we were talking about what we really want from our lives and what we hope to achieve. And we both said that we wanted to write a book. Emma's a keen traveller and she just wants to see as much of the world as possible. And me? Well, I actually said, I just want a break. And I'm not talking about a holiday in the Maldives, although that would have been lovely, but I'm talking about a real break in my career. Like, I'm 42 now. I've worked so hard at everything, like everything I've ever done. I'm sure, just like you too. But honestly, you might be surprised to hear this, but I feel pretty average. I feel like I'm doing okay. I'm happy. I'm grateful for how far I've come with everything I've achieved. But I just want a break. I want Deborah Meaden or Holly Tucker or an amazing business lady that I admire to see me, to see my planners that I've just designed, or recognise what I can give to our small business community and just take me under the wing. Give me a shot to help and inspire and support as many women as I can just to go it alone, take control of their own life and do something they love. Because some days you just want to cry, don't you? You just want to jack it all in, because it feels like no matter what you do, you still just feel average at best. Like you're just not making any progress at all. And when I expressed how I was feeling to my sister, she got it. I was telling her about an event that I've been invited to for female entrepreneurs. And actually, as this podcast goes live on the 12th of November, I'll be there at this event. And it's organised by a BBC presenter who lives local to me. And she asked if I'd come on the panel at their next networking event and talk about my experience of starting a business, and dealing with life's challenges along the way. When I told my husband Dave, do you know what his first thing he said was? Not, "Oh, this is amazing, Joanne. Congratulations." No. He said, "Bloody hell, don't depress them telling them your story, will you?" Honestly. I said, "It's a story of resilience, Dave. I'm not going to go and do a PowerPoint presentation in my family tree showing them how many of us are all dead or cursed by a deadly gene. Like, give me some credit, Dave." Anyway, I was telling him and my sister, and I said naturally that I was nervous about it. Public speaking is bloody terrifying, isn't it? But I did what I always do when I was approached, which is just say yes and figure it out later. Um, and I said to Emma, I said, "No, I don't know how it's going to go." Like, meaning it could be a total disaster. And Emma just looked at me and she said, "Yeah, you don't know how it's going to go." Like, she said it really optimistically. And by rephrasing that exact same sentence, we changed my mindset. You don't know how it's going to go. You don't know who's going to be there, what they do, who they know. It's exciting. It's a chance for the doors to open up to opportunities. You don't know how it's going to go. So that's how I'm going to go into it. Different mindset. And it's the same for you. And I want you to try something, okay? Instead of waking up in the morning and saying, "Oh, I've had no sales, my stuff's shit, what's the point? I'm never going to make a real living off what I do." Well, do something else instead, okay? And I heard this on a recent episode of the Mel Robbins podcast. And it's something that I'm making a conscious effort to do every morning now. And I'm also trying to get Eden to do it as well. And Mel said that we need to reprogram our brains so it doesn't default to negativity. And by saying just a few simple sentences when you get up each day, can actually change your pattern of thought over time. I won't go through them all because there was like 8 or something, but I will put the link to the episode in my show notes in case you want to listen to it because it's really good. I really enjoyed it. But there's 3 that stuck with me that I now say every day when I wake up. Instead of immediately reaching for my phone and flooding my brain with negative and unnecessary information, because we all do it, don't we? So instead, I resist looking at my phone and I get up and I go to the bathroom and I'll say to myself in the mirror, "Today is going to be a good day." Yeah, I set the tone for the day. Even if it doesn't turn out to be one, and trust me, I've had some especially shit days of late, but it doesn't matter because I've set my mindset. Okay, I've started off on the right foot, even if I'm on my arse by the end of the day, and that's all that matters. The second thing I say is something cool is going to happen today. Now, I like this one when Mel described this one because you think to yourself, "Oh God, nothing cool ever happens to me." But actually, it doesn't have to be anything big. It might just be that someone compliments me, or maybe I find my favourite coffee is back on the menu at my local cafe, or a client tells me that they got a sale. I'll tell you one today, something cool that happened. Like, I'm on Slimming World at the moment, and I scanned something in Lidl, which I thought was going to be really high in sins. And I was like, "Whoa, 2 sins for the whole pot. Boom, I'm getting that." That was pretty cool. Meant I could have a decent snack tonight. Yeah, I was happy with that. And the likelihood is, if you've set the standard again by saying this at the beginning of your day, then you'll actually notice when something cool happens. Because things happen all the time, but we miss them. We're far too consumed with our busy, hectic lives that we just don't see the little things that are actually pretty cool that are happening around us. So get it in your head before your day properly begins. All right. And the last one that I say to myself every single day, and I think is a really crucial one for us small business owners and mums, I'm not going to lie, it's this: no matter what happens today, I can handle it. And I love this one because it makes me feel in control. It doesn't matter if you have a difficult customer, or there's something you're not looking forward to that day, or you don't make a sale, or you're feeling this crippling doubt about your decision to ditch your job and follow your lifelong dream to start your own business. You can handle it. You will handle it. And telling yourself this every day will eventually rewire your brain because we're all capable of this. Yeah, our brains are capable of change, no matter how old they are. So you are changing the way you think about your business and about your life. Now, here's the hard truth, okay? The truth that no one wants to say out loud. Running a creative business is hard. Yeah, it's a hell of a lot slower than you think it's going to be. It's way lonelier than you expect it to be. And there will be days that you genuinely wonder what you signed up for. And you know what? Those days, they usually hit around the 6 to 12 month mark after starting your business. It's like that honeymoon period is over, isn't it? And you start seeing the reality of it all. Like your husband snores and he's actually really irritating you when he leaves his dirty washing on top of the washing basket and not in it. You know, why do they do that? You didn't see any of this behaviour before you were married, did you? No. You start your business. Your best friends buy from you. Your family support you. You might have a fancy little workspace set up with matching stationery and rows of colour coordinating stock and supplies. You know, your website's looking on point. You've got a new product range and it's ready to go viral, take the world by storm. But 6 months in, your best mate stopped sympathy buying from you. Your family's starting to question your life decisions and subtly or not asking you when you're going to get a real job and come back to the real world. Your fancy workspace still looks pretty, but it's untouched. When by now you thought that your desk would be hidden by all the orders that are piling up on it and you'd be restocking all the supplies that you bought at the beginning. But it's not. And you're not. In fact, you're starting to worry that what you signed up for is not what you actually got. Like the messy, noisy husband, for example. Yeah, there was no sign of that when you were dating, was there? Well, here's the other hard truth. The only people who make it are the ones who don't give up. 6 to 12 months is very early days in regards to a new business, right? If you're still not making a bit of money or seeing an upward trend at least after 2.5 years, that's different. I remember something that my breast surgeon said to me when I went to see him at my 6-month checkup. And, I had a little cry, obviously, still in so much pain with my stomach area where he'd reconstructed my breast from. I mean, it had been 6 months of solid pain, non-stop. So I was drained. It was draining. And I remember I asked him when it would go away, or at least when it would feel better. And he said to me, "Not for a while, Joanne." He said, "It's very early days yet." And I remember thinking, very early days? Bloody hell, I don't know how much longer I can stand this. Like, when is it going to end? And you know what? I'm 18 months post-op now, and it still hurts. Nowhere near as bad, but it probably took the best part of 18 months to become doable, to not worry about it as much, to fasten my jeans up again, to trust that it will get better. It just takes time. And it's the same with your business. Yeah, you can't grow resilience without being uncomfortable. You can't gain that experience without things going wrong. And you can't build a business that you love without walking through the middle bit. This bit now, the messy, uncertain, shit scary, is this even worth it bit? I got through my surgery and the long healing process that came along with it, mentally and physically. And hopefully, I'm going to live a lot longer than I And hopefully, I'm going to live a lot longer than I almost certainly would have done if I didn't have the surgery. Yeah. This is the hard bit now. The bit where your character gets built. That's where you find out what you're really made of. Yes, you might be feeling disappointed. But guess what? Disappointment is part of this process. It's not a warning sign that you shouldn't be doing your business and you've made a massive mistake. No, it's a rite of passage. Yeah, it's something that you have to go through to come out the other side. In fact, I don't think I know one business owner who hasn't felt like it's not all it's cracked up to be. Yeah, not one, me included. It definitely separates the men from the boys. So it's not what you expected. But I honestly believe that's the point. It's meant to teach you grit, patience, courage, creativity, perhaps in ways that you never saw coming. It's like family life for me. Yeah, it's completely not what I expected at all. Yeah, Eden has her struggles, and we're navigating a very difficult and emotional path to try and help her with her apparent neurodiversity. And when I look back to when I thought I'd be having a family and I'd be a mum, I had visions of my family life being long autumn walks in the park, film nights with popcorn and pick a mix, cuddles on the sofa, and bike rides along the canal. But the reality has been very different for us. And we can't walk far before the sounds and lights and smells of autumn in the park just get too much for her, and we end up coming home. And that's even if we get out there at all. Films are too unpredictable and are totally off the table. Instead, we watch the same YouTube channel on repeat. It drives me mental. Cuddles, they're few and far between because she struggles with physical touch. And bike rides, I think the closest we've ever managed to get her near anything that moves on wheels is when she sat on my knee when I came out of hospital after my breast surgery and I was in a wheelchair. Seriously. Is it what I thought family life was going to be like? No, of course not. One of my close friends said to me once that you almost have to let go of the fantasy of how you thought it would be and just accept that that's the way it is for now. Okay, you've just got to get in the trenches and fight for your better tomorrow, if that's what you want. Okay, if you love your business as much as you love your child, yeah, you've got to want it so bad, it'll come. The income and the stability will come. Just like the film nights and the bike riding on the canal for me. Yeah, we've just got to buckle up for a slightly bumpier journey than we anticipated. So, what do you need to take away from this episode today? Well, I want you to remember something when you're feeling down or disappointed, because this running your own business lark isn't all what it's cracked up to be, is it sometimes? Yeah. But that will change. And I want you to remember that you're not behind, you're not failing, you're just in the hard part. The bit where you're waiting for the sales, the bit where you put every last ounce of energy and money that you have into your venture, the bit that feels like it's never going to happen, even the bit where you are considering quitting. Yeah, everyone goes through it, and you're no different, I'm afraid. It's like your initiation into the world of being self-employed is unavoidable. And you've got to stop romanticizing it. Yeah, you've got to stop thinking that it should be all unicorns and rainbows, because it's not. Yeah, you've got to embrace what it actually is right now and make the best of it. Me, I can't do film nights with popcorn and pick a mix. So instead, we do YouTube shorts and a stupid amount of crisps, which is all my child is eating at the moment. Yeah. You haven't got a sale a day at the moment, but you might have had a sale a week or even just a sale. Embrace it, because that is good. I can't go for a nice autumn walk somewhere new and exciting with a hot chocolate and marshmallows waiting for me at the end. No. So instead, we go for short walks in familiar places where there's a Costa coffee in the nearby vicinity, because that's what comforts my daughter at the moment. You're maybe getting frustrated that no one is seeing your social media posts and it just feels like a complete waste of your time trying to get noticed. Well, what else can you do instead? Reach out to your local newspaper. Tell them your story of why you started your business, because I know you've got one. We all do. We have all been through something that's propelled us into doing this, into taking that leap, that plunge, whatever you want to call it. Embrace it. Do what works for you right now, rather than get down and depressed about what's not working for you. Okay? And remember that the way you're feeling now, this disappointment, this lack of control, even despair about the fact that running your own business ain't all it's cracked up to be, is normal and it's temporary. And it isn't going to be like this forever. Okay? Remember, this is the hard bit, the bit you're in right now. This is where you earn it. It could take 1 month, it could take 6 months, 12 months, 18 months. Just do your best to go with it, right? Stay positive and just keep moving forward, doing these small little things every day, every week, whatever you can manage to move in the right direction. The trick to surviving is to keep your eyes open for any new opportunities and experiences. Keep your humour intact, because you're going to need it, trust me. And keep your heart focused on why you started this in the first place. Maybe accept that you're going to be broke for a little while. Yeah, money might be tight, but prioritise what you spend it on. Just buy small amounts of stock and supplies until you start getting regular orders in. Forgo your little luxuries for now. I know it's annoying, trust me, but you might have to park your holiday for a year if you have to. Invest what you have in moving forward because it won't be wasted this way. So before I finish today's episode, I want to give you an example of exactly this. Investing in what's working or a part of your business that you know is going to bring you the results you want. So you might have seen my new business planners on my socials in the last couple of weeks, right? It's something that I've been wanting to do forever. And I finally got my arse in gear and I did it, right? I designed my own business planner. I don't know how they'd go. So I did only what I could afford and I ordered a small amount of them from the printing company, just in case, they were a total flop and everyone thought they were crap. And that way, I hadn't lost a huge amount of money. Now, luckily, they didn't flop. Quite the opposite, in fact. And I had an epic response to them. Like, thank you to everyone who bought one. And I sold out. I couldn't believe it. Now, I've got to make a decision. Do I take that money that I made for all my hard work and run for it? Or at least use it, maybe to get my savings back up, or perhaps take the pressure off Christmas a little and all the expense that comes with it? Or do I take that money and reinvest it into the business and buy twice the amount of planners that I did last time, therefore doubling my profit if I sell out again? It's like being back in Vegas and going double or nothing. I might be a risk taker in lots of areas of my life, but I don't like to lose money. It's my Jewish roots, I think. But I know I've got something good here. Okay, I believe that it's worth the risk. So I am going to make that decision to put all the money that I made, I'll have to add a bit more to it as well, to order double the amount of planners from the printers and hope to God that I can sell them. Yeah. The good thing is they're undated, so it's not like they aren't usable past next year. So that's a real plus, I think, at least. So my new order of planners will be available again in time for Christmas. I'm expecting to have the new supply around mid towards the end of November. So if you want one, or you think they'd make a perfect gift for someone who's running their own business, but just getting their knickers in a twist all the time, then head to my website and get one. If you live outside of the UK, you can still have one. I've posted a couple to the USA and Australia so far. It's no problem at all. As long as you don't mind paying a little more in postage, just let me know. But I'm so proud of them. It's a planner designed for business owners by a business owner. I know how your brain thinks. I know what you need to keep track of day to day and what you don't. We haven't got time to be faffing around writing down all our goals and to-do lists for the month. No, we can't cope with that kind of forward thinking. We're flying by the seat of our pants day to day. And so much can actually change in a month, which is why I focus on weeks when you're self-employed. And I always tell people this. I say, forget the monthly mindset. That's more for people with annual salaries. It is so much easier to look at your business week by week, much more manageable, much less scary. You can keep on top of it a lot easier. Now, I've got 52 weekly game plan pages in my planner, which literally ask you, what are your top 3 priorities this week that you've got to get done? That's it. 3. What important dates or deadlines do you have to remember this week? And what money has come in? And what have you spent this week? Keep it manageable and it won't overwhelm you. There's also a weekly social media planner in there, so you can really think about and plan your weekly content. And no, you don't have to post every day. Yeah, there is a Monday to Sunday planner in there, but I am not expecting people to be posting every day. I know we all have lives, yeah? It's the most dullest thing ever. I feel the same. So 2 to 3 times a week, whatever you can manage, just jot down on those days what it is that you are thinking that you're going to put for your social media content that week. Plus, there's 12 monthly marketing pages as well to help you think outside of social media, because there is a world outside of it, yeah? Ways that you can move your business forward without relying on the algorithms. And of course, that's my favourite feature at the back of the business planner, my password tracker. Because quite frankly, I am sick to death of resetting my passwords every time I forget what they are. I mean, I live with bloody Mr. Security, don't I? Who's totally against making life easy and saving all your passwords in Google Password Manager. So I need to write this shit down, right? Go old school with me. Write the bloody things down in your diary. So please do go and grab yourself or someone you love one of my business planners. I've got to sell another 50 now, so I'd be very grateful of any orders. But that's it from me. Please do share this episode with another small business owner who would benefit from everything that we've talked about today. And hopefully you feel better too for listening. You know where I am if you need any help with your small business. Please do get in touch, drop me an email. You can reach me on herhandmadehustle@gmail.com or send me a message on Instagram or Substack. Those are the places I hang out. I hope you've enjoyed it, and please do let me know what you think of the episode. Always love to hear from you. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you next time.